Jerry Jarzynka. Hi, Jerry.
Bart, good to see you again.
Good to see you. Welcome
Yes.
back.
Merry Christmas in
Thanks.
advance.
Merry Christmas to you as well. And congratulations on your retirement.
Thank you, Bart. Thank you. Yeah. It's hard to believe I'm retiring. It's been 3 terms. It's 12 years. But it's gone by pretty quickly. I've been, very thankful that the people of Jackson County, gave me the honor and privilege of serving them in this past 12 years. Very thankful for that. Very thankful for my staff, my assistant prosecutors, my legal secretaries, my victims rights unit. I mean, working together as a team, working hard, they really came up with amazing results in a number of serious cases. I'm really thankful to them too.
3 terms, 12 years. So looking back to 2012, you ran for office. What were you thinking? What was your plan, and did it play out?
I came back to the prosecutor's office after being in private practice, and I had some prosecution experience. That would have been March of 2007. And so when I came back, I really enjoyed being a prosecutor. That's the most satisfying job I has as an attorney. And so I had no goal or ambition of being the prosecuting attorney. But I think God has his own plans, and things happened, doors opened, I walked through them, and after 5 years, my predecessor, Prosecutor Hank Savicek, was retiring and asked me to run for a spot. So I was reluctant at first, but I said, yes, I'll do that. And so kind of launched me into running for a political office. I've never run for that before. So it was quite the experience. It's one thing to be behind the scenes and being involved in the political campaign, but when you're the person they're talking about, you're the candidate, it's a little bit different perspective. But it was pretty exciting, and I really learned some things. I really learned about the people of Jackson County, especially in door-to-door and events. I wasn't sure how that was going to go. I'm more of a introvert, laid-back person, so I had a lot of fear about doing door-to-door, but I was really surprised that the people were very friendly, very willing to listen to what you had to say. I just was really touched by that. I always remember.
That's interesting, because I remember when I first met you, you were an attorney in private practice, and I noted that about you, that you were somewhat shy and not one to be out in the spotlight, right. And it kind of surprised me that you chose to be a lawyer to begin with. Yeah. What got you into the profession?
My best friend growing up in grade school and high school was Ryan Wilson. Always wanted to be a lawyer, always kind of put the bug in my ear, even in high school. And then in college, I wasn't sure what I was going to do. I had 2 older brothers that went into business. I just assumed I was just going to work for a company in some business fashion. And then, Ryan kind of said, well, you should really go into law. You can always use that in business. And so I ended up going to law school. And my second year in law school at University of Toledo, they had a special program, a prosecutor program, where you can intern at a prosecutor's office for a year as you're going to school with taking other classes. So, Monroe County is just north of Toledo. So I interned in that program with the Monroe County Prosecutor's Office. And I think that got into my blood about liking prosecution work. I could never get rid of that. And so working with the prosecutors there, you really get a taste of behind the scenes what's going on, and I really liked it.
You found that you recognized a lot of good in Jackson County residents, but at the same time you saw the worst in some Jackson County residents. You prosecuted murderers, right. Several in your 12 years.
Yeah, I've had a number of serious cases and just amazing results on convictions on those, guilty as charged. That's really difficult to do. I think that's, especially my first 8 years before COVID, just took a policy decision that on our most violent cases, we were just going to have a no deals approach, and we're just going to either plead or we're going to trial. And it's not easy to prevail in those cases. And one of the things I think that was helpful was you have to have a great staff, but I started a policy for our most serious cases, such as murders. We would assign 2 prosecutors, a trial team, and that proved to be highly effective. And I learned about that when Hank Savisak has sent me in 2008, when I was an assistant, to a career prosecutors course in South Carolina. And you get a chance to meet prosecutors all over the country. And so I learned from a number of them that was the norm in their office. They had trial teams in their serious cases. So I always remember that. So when I started here, I said, we're going to do that here.
I noticed one of the things you've done outside the courthouse, organize and participate in various summits and initiatives. Drug Summit, Summit to Reduce Violence. You've been, I think, a presenter in every single one since they started. I know that's one of your points of pride.
Yeah, you know what, Bart, when I came back to prosecution, I just found it's very satisfying because you get to help people who've been victimized and you get to help your community. And one of the things about being a prosecuting attorney, which is so neat, and as well as doing that in different cases you handle and policies that you set, you have the ability to do different things. And certainly the initiative with the drug summits and the task force on heroin and prescription drug abuse is one of them, because when I started in 2013, we just had an epidemic with opioids. The ambulance services were overwhelmed. It was a huge problem for the community. And so, I was approached by Mike Hurst when they held the first Andy Angels, and so we started a task force, and then it led to starting the first of what would be 7 drug summits. And especially the first 5 we held with our office really made a big difference in the community, because we were just asking for community awareness about the problem and the link between prescription drugs and heroin, but also asking the community to get involved. And they did in a big way. I mean, not just Mike Hurst, but lots of other individuals, other groups, organizations. And I would find out, talking to other prosecutors in the state, that Jackson County was way ahead of other counties in what we were doing proactively to do something about the problem. So I am really grateful and fond to the people in Jackson County for getting behind that and getting involved, because it made a difference.
You had an interesting and unusual team member. I don't know if they officially were an assistant prosecutor, but it was a dog. You brought a dog to work as part of the office.
Yeah, my first term, we talked about getting a canine advocate, and we did that, but who's going to handle the dog, who's going to own the dog, and then you have to get on a waiting list to get the dog, and so we finally got a dog after waiting almost a year. We were fortunate that we had Dr. Sue Sales of Brooklyn Road Vet Clinic to sponsor Abe and provide all of his care and medications and food. And so we got Abe right after Thanksgiving of 2016, and so Abe started in January. So when I retire, he's going to retire, but he will have been serving 8 years as the first canine advocate. I thought he would be good. We brought him in to help with kids who've been abused, help them testify in the courtroom. So he did that well, but he really surprised me, and he helped the staff because he helped reduce stress. They would come to see him in the office, and he's always wagging his tail. But he was a great ambassador also in the courthouse, because he had to learn how to sit still for at least an hour at a time. So he would go to different courtrooms, visit different floors of the courthouse. So he became really a courthouse celebrity, if you will. So he's really been a great addition to the office.
Well, we appreciate all the service you've provided the community. Appreciate your involvement with JTV over the years. And I mentioned this the last time you were here. Jerry was in private practice, and he became JTV's first attorney to advertise on JTV, which we've been very grateful for. I know you're going to stick around, and you're very involved in the community, so I know we're going to see you again on the show. But thanks for coming in, and best wishes.
Yeah, thank you, Bart. Thanks for the opportunity to talk. And, thank you to you, JTV, and the entire Jackson community. I mean, you know, you give in the service, but you get a lot back from the community by, you know, how they get involved in things. It certainly has been my experience. So thank you. And thank you, Jackson.
Thank you, Jerry. And Merry Christmas.
Yes, Merry Christmas.
Jackson County's retiring prosecuting attorney, Jerry Jarzynka.